Well, they sunk the pumpkin.
Keinen Tag überstehen, ohne dass ein Kürbis untergeht. Die Emily hat aber ins Ziel geschafft.
Over the last 20 or so years, I have taught and coached a lot of different people of varying ages, backgrounds, disciplines, all the things. When I was in college, I was a TA for the computer science department. I've taught Sunday school at church to kids as young as 4 or 5 years old, all the way up to college age. I've mentored young leaders. I was an assistant scuba instructor. I was once an assistant martial arts class instructor. I was often the punching bag person, the demo person. I've taught CrossFit. I've taught biblical Greek studies at Bible school. I've taught all kinds of stuff. And one of the things that has been really common amongst all those areas with students is a fear of failure. A fear of failure. People are afraid to fail. They're afraid to be embarrassed by screwing up or asking a stupid question or maybe making the wrong decision. But there's a problem in that. And the problem is that failure is the ultimate teacher. Experience is the ultimate teacher. When I was growing up, learning how to drive stick in a car, manual transmission, was a seriously frustrating experience because I never had a good teacher. And so I took that experience and I created my own progression, if you will, on how to teach someone how to drive a manual transmission. And I have a 100% success rate. And the way that I do this is I actually teach the person how to fail. That is the first thing I teach them to do. I tell them, put the car in neutral, put their foot on the clutch, turn on the car, and then let go of the clutch. So if you've ever driven a stick car before, stalling is a bad thing. But what do I do when I teach someone how to drive a stick? I teach them how to stall first. I approach teaching people how to drive stick a little bit differently. Rather than having the objective of, I'm going to teach you how to drive stick, what I do instead is I set constraints. You are not going to stall. And the way we do that is we first teach someone how to do it wrong. So I deliberately teach the person how to stall. And then what I do is, okay, let's try that again. Turn on the car, stall. Okay, now you know what it feels like to stall. And now you don't like that feeling, do you? And you're like, no, I don't want to stall anymore. That's scary. Like the car jumps and it gets all sketchy. I don't know what's going to happen. Cool. Step 2. Here's what you do. Turn the car on again. Now what I want you to do is I want you to let the clutch out slowly. And then when you feel the car start to shake, push the clutch back in. So what I've done there is I've taught them how to save the car from stalling. So the constraint I set was don't stall. We don't want to stall. Stalling sucks. Let's not stall. But first they need to understand what it means to stall. And then the second thing I teach them to do is how to not stall. So they let the clutch out slowly, they feel the car start to shake, feel it about to die, and they push the clutch back in. Save the car from stalling. Cool, win. Alright, let's try to now let the clutch out a little bit further and not stall. And what you're going to do now is, as soon as you feel the car start to shake, push the clutch back in just a touch and leave it there and see what happens. If you drive an automatic car, you know what happens when you put your car in drive and take the foot off the gas. What does the car do? It drives forward, right? You don't even have to press the gas on the car to make it go forward. Because it's in gear, the car will go forward just a little bit. That's just something that you know and probably have taken for granted just driving an automatic car. If you take the foot off the brake, the car will actually move forward a little bit. Now watch this. You teach the person how to push the clutch in, they start the car. They let the clutch out. Slow, 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 they start to feel it shake and they push the clutch in just a hair. And this is the catch point. This is where the engine and the transmission are going to mesh and now the car moves forward. This implies that your foot is off the brake, by the way. If your foot's on the brake, it's not going to go forward. But if your foot is off the brake and you find that mesh point, that catch point on the clutch, the car will move forward just like an automatic car. And now if you know how to drive an automatic car, you're golden. So this is how I teach people how to drive stick. I take away the objective of, I'm going to teach you how to drive stick, and I just set the constraints. Don't stall. And so now what we're doing is we're experimenting with all kinds of ways of how to not stall. The first option, yeah, you didn't stall. So you felt the car starting to shake, you pushed the clutch in, car didn't stall. But now you're not really going anywhere, so that kind of sucks. You actually want to drive somewhere. So the next step is, okay, let's save the stall, but then just push the clutch in just a little bit and see what happens. And then lo and behold, the car moves forward. So there we go. Super simple way to teach someone how to drive stick is just teach them not to stall. And that's it. And then after that, it's just a matter of practicing and gaining more experience. But here's the thing, guys. It's a lot harder to teach someone how to drive stick if you don't teach them how to fail first. The same thing is true in weightlifting and gymnastics. One of the first things you teach people how to do is how to fail and how to fail safely. So in weightlifting, you don't want to drop the barbell on your head. That's stupid. So you teach the athlete how to fail gracefully. A gymnast, how do you teach them how to fail? You teach them how to slap the ground or to roll out of a fall. That's the first thing you teach people to do. Learning how to fail is a good thing. And then learning from that failure is where you actually start to make progress. Here's another example. So this idea of not chasing an objective, which was the topic of our video last week, is a really important skill to develop. Because if you have an objective and you're only chasing that one objective or close enough to that objective, you may never get to that objective. And also, you might be depriving yourself of a world of other opportunities. You can't get so narrow focused into thinking this is for me when there's a whole big world out there that has things that might actually be better for you. So instead of having an objective-based approach, we want to set constraints. So when I was teaching this person how to drive stick, the constraint is don't stall. That's it. Let's just not stall. Let's just focus on not stalling. So I teach them how to stall first, and I teach them how to not stall. And then we learn how to drive stick that way. Going back to computer science, this is the difference between objective search and novelty search. An objective search will often have the objective of getting to this objective or as close to it as possible without backtracking. Whereas a novelty search, on the other hand, is try all the different possibilities until you find a favorable solution and then keep trying different things. Alright, so I'm going to use this map here as an example. If you're a visual person, this maze will help you understand this idea. Just from looking at the maze, without trying the maze, I know that there's an exit up here. An objective search is going to say, I want to get to the objective or the exit or as close as possible. Now the reason why I'm explaining it this way is because this is just the way that life usually is for people. A lot of people will say, okay, I want to get an A on this test, but I'll settle for a B. No big deal. Or I want to be a millionaire, but I'll settle for $900,000. Or I want to do this, but I'll settle for this. Let's be realistic. Lots of people are that way. Would you agree? Nod your head if you agree. Now, that's the way objectives tend to work, is I want to get to the objective or as close to it as possible, and I don't want to backtrack, because backtracking is not making progress. So here's what it looks like. Objective search. I come in, okay, I'm just cruising along. Then I get to here, my first decision. Do I go left or right? No, let's go right. So I keep going. Cruising through the maze. Next decision, left or right? Let's go right. New decision, right or left? Let's go left. And I'm cruising along. And then here I get to another decision. Do I want to go right or left? Okay, let's go left. Left or right? Well, left's clearly not the answer. Let's go this way. And you come in through and, oh, dead end. This is where a lot of people get complacent and they're like, I'm cool with this. I know that the exit's over here. And I'm not quite there, but I'm good with this. I'm good. You know, this is complacency at its best. People who settle for mediocrity. Look, I got pretty dang close to it. I'm happy with that. Now, this analogy falls apart a little bit because earlier I said we want to get as close to the objective as possible without backtracking. Now, backtracking here actually would get you closer to the objective, and then suddenly it's not closer to the objective anymore if you try to go this direction. So this is probably where my mouse is right now. This is probably where you would end up and say, I'm good here, I'm good enough, I'm close enough. So that is an objective search. You try to get to the objective or as close as possible without backtracking, because backtracking is backtracking. That's not progress, that's a waste of time. I know lots of people who live their life according to that thought process. Now there's the novelty search, which is a little bit different. The novelty search is try every possibility. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna cruise through the maze. And I get to my first decision. Do I go left or right? Let's try left. That didn't go anywhere. Let's go back, because backtracking is okay in a novelty search. The idea behind a novelty search is that you just try things. You keep trying things. You keep trying what you haven't tried before. The whole point is to just keep trying as many possibilities as you can. So I tried that possibility, wasn't good, so I backtracked. I keep going through. Oops. I keep going through. And here I have another decision to make. Do I go left or right? Let's go right. Do I go left or right? Let's go left. Cruising along. And here, same decision as before. Do I go left or right? And let's for fun, let's go left. So just like before, you cruise through. You're like, dead end. Let's go back. No big deal. I learned something from this. Let's go here. Let's go left. Let's go down. Let's go left. Let's go left again. And I'm cruising through, just kind of making decisions as I go. And then now, here's a real decision here. Here you get to the solution. You know that, okay, that's a solution. A true novelty search will do this. You're gonna go, okay, well, I know where the exit is, that's cool, but let's see what's over here just for funsies. Dead end. Dead end. And then you cruise back, and you know with confidence where the exit is, and you exit out. This is kind of the way I approach choosing a movie on an airplane. I will go through the list of movies, I'll find one that I like, I go, okay, cool, that looks like a solution for me. But just out of curiosity, I'm always gonna look to the end of the list and see what else is on there, because I might find something that's better. Just by glancing at this maze real quickly, I can see there's a entrance here and an exit here. But who knows, maybe in my haste, I didn't notice that there was a solution over here. And that's kind of why, even though I found a solution here, why not go around and see what else is in there? Just out of curiosity's sake. And then come back if that's really the only solution. Life is like that, guys. We want to explore as many possibilities as possible, and not be afraid of failing. Because you might get to this point and you're like, cool, that's the solution. But who knows? There might be a better one over here. Let's check it out, no harm, no foul. I can always come back and leave this way too. This is super, super beneficial because what ends up happening is if you go this way and you encounter some other interesting decisions, that is going to be useful later on in life. I always like to explore all the possibilities because it builds my experience. The experience of going through this maze here is going to increase your problem solving skills. I like playing chess with people and I like to replay the game over and over again just so that I can see what the different possibilities are. Because who knows, you might get yourself stuck in a situation, and if you've never seen that situation before, you don't know how to treat it, you don't know how to find the solution to it. But the more problems you put yourself in front of, and the more problems that you fail at, especially, those are more experiences that you can put in your back pocket, or your front pocket, whatever pocket, you can put in your pocket to allow you to make better decisions later. So here's the thing, in general, guys, we should never be afraid of failing. Failing is a good thing. The failure part is where we actually learn. If you go through life and you're only ever winning all the time, you're not actually learning. You're just getting lucky. And then when you're faced with adversity, then you don't know what to do. I grew up in a generation where we were told we were special and that everyone's a winner. But what did that do with my generation? There are a lot of people who realize later in life that no, we're not all special. No, we're not all winners. That sometimes someone has to lose. And those people don't know how to deal with that reality. It's pretty sad. But if you present failure as a good thing to people when they're learning, that is going to be the most empowering thing that you can do for them. Because rather than being embarrassed or crippled by failure, they're going to take that failure as, okay, cool, now I know what not to do. And that's exactly the way I teach how to drive stick. First, I teach them how to fail. Now you know what not to do. Now let's do that again, but don't stall. Okay, well, cool. Let the clutch out. Oh shoot, we're gonna stall. Save it. All right, cool. So we saved the stall, but we're still not moving, right? We want the car to move. Okay. So now we teach them how to push the clutch in just a little bit till the clutch catches with the engine and the car starts moving forward. And voila, you've taught them how to drive stick. So to sum up, I just want to piggyback on last week's thought of the day is don't be blinded by an objective. Well, sometimes we set objectives based on the little things that we know right now. And if we base our entire life on that objective, we run the risk of missing out on the possibility of something even more awesome to pop up. So my encouragement to you today is explore all the options. Don't be afraid of failing. Failing is the best teacher. Experience is the best teacher. Don't be embarrassed by messing up or asking the wrong question or doing the wrong thing, but instead use that experience as okay, don't want to do that again, so let's try other things that don't fall in line with that. instead of just getting complacent of being, okay, I'm close enough. That sucks. Close enough is never close enough because you don't really know where your real win is gonna be. And that's the fun thing about life. So keep trying different things, figure out what doesn't work, what is not good for you, and then go do the opposite thing. If you keep trying to find the thing in all the places where you've looked before, you're not gonna find the thing. The best way to find the thing that you're looking for is to look where you haven't looked before. Make sense? I'm gonna close with this. This was a fun thing that we figured out today with one of my coaches. Every single coach that I've ever worked with has always told me the same thing: don't coach your spouse or your significant other. It doesn't work. It just starts fights. So the technique that we came up with today was, when you're coaching your spouse or your significant other, tell them the wrong thing on purpose, because you're gonna be wrong anyway. So you might as well be wrong and own up to being wrong. So let's say you're trying to coach them through this thing. Hey babe, do this. They're like, no, that's stupid. That doesn't work. Oh, okay, you're right. How about this? No, that's not right. And what you end up doing is you direct them to the correct answer by being the wrong person. Because you're gonna be wrong anyway, no matter what. You might as well be wrong and let them find the right, and then you are still wrong, but at least they're doing the right thing. Instead of you trying to tell them what to do that's correct, and then they just get mad at you and not want to listen to you anyway. And then they do the wrong thing. You guys get the game. It's kind of fun. Go try this. When I find a girlfriend, I'm going to try the same thing. But those of you guys who have wives and things, try that and let me know how it goes. Anyway, that's it for today. I'll see you guys next time.